I understand the concerns about him from a personality standpoint. I do think at times he shoots from the cuff way too much, but I'm looking at the whole landscape, not just his personality. Last time I had his personality to judge on, and that's it. But this time they have to look at what we've been able to accomplish under his presidency and balance that against the field on the Democratic side. And if you look at our side, and you look at what we have got a lot of things we have 20 or 30-year low unemployment in Central New York. We have African American unemployment at historical lows nationwide, and now the wage growth for African Americans is far outpacing even wage growth for non-African Americans. We've had tax reform, which you all supported, which has had, I think, a dramatically positive effect both here and nationwide on our country. We've had trade reform, which we badly needed, and I've always advocated for. And we've also had administrative reforms that are allowing business to be more competitive. The fact that he's taking on Japan and he's taking on the European Union, and everyone's always acknowledged the trade imbalances and how unfair they were for us. That he's taking those on is going to have a very big long-term effect for us, and business is excited about that. The tax reform is working in my mind, in my opinion. It's not perfect, but it's definitely working. Corn Industrial Laundries, a mesolinguist job, would not be coming here, and that impoverished area of the city would not be getting revamped were it not for the opportunity zones and the tax reform. So that stuff is working. And then you look at the foreign policy side. ISIS had a caliphate, and they were recruiting, inciting violence in the United States big time. The caliphate is gone. There's still a huge threat, but the caliphate itself is gone. Israel feels like we have their backs again. They did not feel like that in the previous administration. I think the bad guys are afraid of us again, and the good guys, we're getting better relationships. I think that's important to peace through strength. Our military is back up to where it should be. We had huge vulnerabilities in the previous administration from a funding standpoint. So you balance all that against what the Democrats want. And the biggest concern I have with the Democratic field is they've been pulled far to the left. The Joe Biden that's running for president now is not the Joe Biden I knew and liked. He grudgingly has been pulled to the far left. And if you add up all the things they're proposing, if Warren or Sanders, for example, gets in, and Sanders is leading the pack right now in the latest CNN poll nationwide, you're talking about 90-some-odd trillion dollars in new spending over 10 years. 90-something trillion. And we have record deficits as it is. And some of that stuff they're going to do, for example, they're all on board for getting rid of the tax reform and pulling that back. Look what it's done for business. And look what it's done for jobs. We had thousands of jobs announced in November alone in Syracuse. That hasn't happened since I was a kid. And so all those things, I look at all of that and I say to myself, because of all that, and yeah, I definitely am troubled by a lot of his conduct, but I look at the total record and what the alternative is, and I just feel like I feel comfortable with my decision.